All right, one and all, welcome back to even more midweek muster all-stars action. That's right, second series of the day. Looks like we're probably going to be casting 6 series at this rate. It's going to be Anatan versus Louis MT, the one that I actually want to start with. But someone was running a little bit late. They were not exactly punctual, but maybe we'll have a very quick set here. English versus Juji. Dry Arabia is your opening map, and we already have some wacky landmarks in terms of placement and style. Council Hall opening from Louis, and a forward meditation garden from Anatan. Ooh. Not a big fan of this for Anno. Juji versus English. If English play the old school Lombo build, I feel like they do pretty well here, right? Like, the initial pressure is just quite overwhelming. Whereas, what happened for a while, actually, I want to say Juji looked a bit better because, you know, English were just playing this 2DC meta. I really like Louis' approach here of just playing aggro. One, because he's got to catch up, right? This is only round 1, and he's behind already. So he needs to catch up to the live series, which this one is live. It's just, we literally just cast one of the round 1 games, and because of the delays, we were ready to do this one as well. So maybe he's trying to play with a little bit of urgency, but it's also just a really smart play. You know, like, this was when Juji came out, when they released in Sultan Ascend's update. I feel like this is one of the go-to bread and butters for a lot of people. Is that you could just annihilate people by playing into Lombo Mass. Like, I remember at the time players saying there's no harder counter for Juji than English. I know. Wait, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way. He's going Anno did scout this, right? I mean, he's about to reveal it. You can't pro scouts this, surely. No, there you go. He immediately switches. So he gets one scout out, queues up the horseman. But I don't think he scouted just deep enough to see the racks. Surely he must have. It'd be crazy if he actually skipped on the racks detail. But Louis, really smart about this, wasn't greedy. Even moving out for the deer now as well. This is a little bit ambitious against horseman play. And what's up, Brit boy? Ambitious with the bits. 500 bits, you absolute legend. Have a pint on me? Oh, mate, I think I'll give it another day or two. Like, you know, trying to prep a tournament with limited time or having food poisoning has been a very ambitious way to spend my Christmas week. But appreciate, mate. So Pro Scout's still coming in from Anno. Won't be denied his greed. I mean, it kind of makes sense why he's going Pro Scouts. I don't think it should be an every game type move here, but if you look at the spawn resources here, Anno, everything is forward. Deer and Deer are both forward of his TC. So if he doesn't play into Pro Scouts, you know, he's pretty much got whatever sheep he has, and that's only 10. Doesn't give you much runway. Louis looking to play with that urgency. Has already parked himself the longbows. Now, you really can just move into these choke points like here. It's a lot better to try and hold these areas. He's probably feeling good about what he's doing right now because he's disturbing the peace. By being here, this landmark is generating less passive resources. He's probably going to wait until he's got enough longbows and spears, and then move a little bit deeper. The cool thing is if you actually play into these small choke points between the buildings, you don't need as many spears to defend. But you know what? You don't need as many cores as I've got in my CPU. I've got 16. You see that on screen right there? AMD Ryzen 9800X 3Ds. 8 cores and chef's kiss. Maximum gaming performance. Check them out. Click the link. Go on. Literally, it's free to click the link. We're doing an awareness campaign with AMD right now. So just clicking on that link actually helps. Louis? Huh? What was... Oh, no. I think he was meant to go around the back there. But the wall, he didn't expect it from Anatan. That's kind of vicious. So Louis now playing blind. He does at least have the vision for the lombos, which is pretty damn good. But against horsemen, it's still dangerous to find yourself in this type of position. And it looks like he has to shuffle back. I think Anatan didn't glimpse that, right? Because, yeah, there's no scout. So at least the villagers aren't seen out in the deer, which is an upside for Louis. Then again, if Anatan just pays a little bit of attention and sees no deer on the fog, he knows that it's being gathered, right? I know, now with the juke. Reminder, by the way, the reason why I really want to catch this matchup, that's why I was a little bit frustrated when it got delayed at the start, is because last time these two met, Anatan got 3-0'd. The last time these two went at it, Louis MT rolled over Anno. And Anno apparently wasn't feeling very well at the time. That's what he at least said on stream. He's like, you know, I shouldn't have played this series. It's a bad idea to rush it. So now it's this redemption arc at the beginning of midweek muster all-stars. And honestly, right now, it's kind of looking good for him. And the horseman count's looking good, Jugerin. Yeah, the meditation guard's getting aggroed a little, getting idled. But he's scaling. Next thing's going to be when you reach about 10 Juke, you want to be getting into the blacksmith timing. Undermesh actually probably a high value here just to mitigate the lombos. Then again, this Steeled Arrow will allow you to shred this spearman line. But now though, the horseman just trying to raid on the backside. Trying to also keep Louis honest. You know, what Louis trying to do here isn't tech up. What he's actually trying to do is get his blacksmith upgrades. There you go, knows his timing. I like this from Louis. I think when they both matched up last, Louis was a little bit complacent. He didn't really play with aggression, even though he's capable of it. And we know that Louis likes playing that later game, that later phase. Doesn't mean you have to aim for it, though. Louis still trying to play interception here. The problem is I think Anno already got quite a lot of deer home. So it's not like denying these scouts is going to starve him out, but it's just right now you don't have enough troops to dive the base. So you're looking for other things to do. These horsemen are really struggling to find their value. It's going to get so much worse now with Steeled Arrow coming in. That's when it gets a bit tricky. And you already see Anno has prepped the blacksmiths, but he really needs to be thinking about Undermesh first here for his horsemen. It's a high priority right now than the Zhug, because the Zhug aren't really looking to directly fight. How do you guys vote in the end, by the way? I'm kind of curious on this. 64% for Anatan. Okay, so people trusting in the boy returning to his form, but also not discrediting Louis' capability. I mean, Louis has been a force to be reckoned with on the English in particular. He really made a name for himself on the midweek muster standpoint in week 1, if you guys remember, when Atoll was the home map. His English was so ridiculously dominant, it got him all the way to a grand finals. This will be a nice start for him because the Undermesh is coming in for him, but Anatan is almost just forgotten about Blacksmith decks. Rough fight now, gets pinched. Lombos might be slightly overextended. Spim not going to go for the stab, but looks like the Horsemen are going to commit to him, so the Lombos just have to trade out that back line. Spears, I mean, they did mop up a decent amount of this, but you see the trickiness of it. Lombos just not guarded well enough here. Anatan getting it about as good as it really gets from this position. Still going to cost him dearly, right? The second line could really do some serious damage. Did lose a lot of horsemen, but for a guy who was 2 blacksmith techs behind, or almost 2 rather, I'd say that outcome is much better than you rightly deserve. Kind of outrageous, right? Undermesh, you know, you wonder why wouldn't you prioritize that against the Zhug. The Steeled Arrow should have allowed Lu to be at a point where he could just brutalize these horsemen, but he held so much in reserve. Had that second wave been coming in, like the Rohirrim Riders, you'd be having a very different looking game right now, but instead we have a consolidation around the Meditation Garden. Anatan is trying to go Castle Age. Oh my god. And now he has enough horsemen left over to make the space for these outposts to go up. We're going to have arrow slits being prepped on run, or rather hand cannon slits. I'm getting in the secondary as well. Anno is, for some reason, gathering an extra deer. But it's starting to look like Anno has survived this. Louis is prepping rams, but the timing is a little bit slow. Right? Because now you're going to have to go through these outposts to try and block and get deeper. I mean, technically, Anno also has a backup gold if he really feels a little bit pressured. Also has taxation to help pad the way into castle. And I think he still has some... Okay, no, he's actually been taxing himself up the wazoo. Nothing really left to gather. What Anno needs to do now is just drag Louis away from his timing. Louis needs to go in the next 20 seconds or it's over. He's prepping the ram now. The Anatan coming in with the Mount Lu Academy. We've seen this build before. You know, I hope you're all above age because it's the PG build. I'm sorry, that was terrible. We've got the Palace Guard build coming in. The Mount Lu Academy is going to give him the supervision tech to double the production speed with an Imperial official watching. By double, I mean double of what it usually supervised doubles to. Regional inspection should be the first priority here. So here you go. Supervision's already there. 12 seconds till the upgrade. Then he pumps them out every 9. Regional inspections coming in. Now, we've seen Anatan attempt this build 3 times in midweek muster, and every single time he forgot to resupervise. Will it happen again? Hopefully not, especially with he's taxing as well. In the meantime, though, Louis continues to push through. Ranged Armor 2 is coming. This has to be the one. 15 seconds. He's got food on the backside. He's still gathering. The deer is running out, though. And Louis, it feels like he's a little bit slow about this. But then again, Anno, where's the gold? He has to buy a marketplace. So here we go. Regional inspection. He hasn't resupervised. It's still only 9 seconds. I mean, then again, he couldn't afford much out of it. He just queued up 4 more, though. Guys, it's happening again. Every time with regional inspection, remember, if you get this tech, which takes you from 150% supervision speed to 300%, it only activates if you move the Imperial official off the building and back on. Asgard, in the meantime, going to start pushing this back. Louis, in response, has chosen tech over death. Castle Age soon to be on the way. Question mark is whether we can get away with a greedy choice here. His army is shuffled far away to the north side. That's going to give Anatan entry point into the English economy. I mean, it is a budget burger. But, like, the weird thing is when we call it a budget burger, like, when you call something budget or discount, it makes it sound worse. This is proof that cheaper can sometimes be better. You get a Burgrave level effect as a byproduct of a certain landmark. And man, that is painful. On 1 TC, he has to go for it. White Tower. But it just got scouted. And Anatan, if he dives in here right now... Anno? Oh no! He looks the wrong way. This is wild. Anatan, he sent a Zhuge down there.
Now you're my Zhuge.
That should have been a dive and an easy peasy win. And there's one of our big winners from the midweek musters. What's up, Vortex? Thank you very much for the raid, mate. Hope you had a good stream. Welcome, one and all, to the final midweek muster of 2024. I cannot believe what I just saw here. Louis MT seemingly getting away with murder. The White Tower is up. Anno does still have that PG pump coming. Now, the upside is because his opponent went White Tower, you don't have to worry about scaling eco. However, you do have to change tactic a little. Diving around the White Tower is not justifiable here. Upside, at least for you, is that Louis put his White Tower in a very questionable location. He chose the wood and the front side of his base, but now his farms aren't protected. Palace Guard, quite fast. And yes, Louis was late, but he is here now. We'll have to talk to him about actually having his clock set right, because he did arrive an hour late. Crossbows from Anatan, but I mean, no reason to do it just yet. He's expecting or anticipating Knight/Men-at-Arms, and quite rightly so. We do see the first Knights getting queued up. All right, 1's if you think Louis is going to win this opening game. 2 if you think Anatan's going to take it. Trying to get a curious read of the room here. It does feel like the later this game goes, the better it gets for English now, right? But I mean, Juji shouldn't be written off in the hyper late game. If they can get relics, pagodas are insane. If they can get their hands on the unique techs for their better cavalry, that's where the late game potency really is. And in fairness, in the late game, what do English like to do? Right? Like Lombos, Spearmen. Well, Lombos, Men-at-Arms actually, rather. Men-at-Arms in particular just feel a lot worse in the late game now compared to like Season 8. Especially if you're up against like heavy cav. So there are ways actually that Juji can fight you in the hyper late. Nice coming in the meantime, though. And believe it or not, despite the fact they're not glowing, they do actually have the attack speed, or I don't know what the hell happened there. Weirdly enough, the unit that has the glow... Wait, now it works? Wait, did they hotfix this? Because the Knight now has the attack speed. Okay, I want to say Big Pog, but then that's an English buff. But right now, it looks like it's holding on. Barely, though. The front line is quite thin. Lombos are doing a lot of damage, though. 9 damage into a 5 ranged armor unit. Yes, you're offsetting a lot of damage, but it's just the bloat of it. And Anatan kind of exhausting himself with this dive. Down to just 9 Palace Guard, and having to admit that this game is going to have to take a more macro-focused angle. Jiangnan now coming in to prep him for the farm transition. You do at least have monks moving out, but I feel like Anatan should be making this move a lot earlier. Louis already mirroring it. Like, this is your edge, right? Your opponent went white tower. You could have easily just rushed relics, been 5 relics up, gone for Yuan, and you're a mile ahead. But because Anatan decided to resume dives, his position is a bit questionable now. He lost a lot of units attempting to get into the base there. Anatan, although he has the first relic on the way home, Louis is already in good position to secure 3 relics himself. Oh boy. And that leaves Anna with what? 2 TC recovery arc? Kind of predictable from this position, right? Louis could pretty much easily just attempt to crawl up with an outpost to get that aura going. He could even just go 2 TC himself. I mean, this is one of the frustrations, like, the English don't have many economical benefits, but the ones they do come around the farms, right? And if both of you are transitioning farms, who's going to do it easier? The guy that pays 37 wood per farm, or the guy that, even with his discount, has to pay 53 wood per farm? And not to mention that, yes, a granary will give you the buff effect, but the mill's already giving a 25% buff effect. English are happy to turn this into a farm transition game, because they'll always complete it quicker. There is some balancing elements to that, where, like, you could argue Juji get 20% more wood, so you actually have to give them, like, an extra 20% discount on the farm costs. It's true. But it's still the buffer rate of the English farms that just allow them to feel a bit more fluid. I find usually with Juji or Chinese, you rush into mass farms, whereas English, you very gradually build it. You don't have to rush it. Knights. Doing a little bit of chip damage here. I think we've had some skipping on the town center as well. There's what, 5 worker difference? The kill count doesn't really add up for this. So yeah, it looks like Louis may have skipped on worker production occasionally. Chinese farms most efficient because of rice? No, they become most efficient if you can get like the Imperial Official in as well. They can be a bit better. I actually think that's something that Juji in a weird way have over Chinese in the late game. It's like, you know, you do have the ability to build extra imp officials, which means you could technically supervise all of your granaries. It's just rarely done, right? Pop efficiency and whatnot. And also at the same time, you still be staring back in the barrel of like China has ancient techniques, which is the 4% gathering buff per dynasty, which still just beats Juji. It's again. So Louis has prepped his second TC as well. They are mirroring piece for piece, but Anno's taking it a step further. However, Louis is still gathering stone, folks, so I think we're about to see free TC on free TC. Even without officials, with all upgrades, granaries usually farms is better than English farms. Well, because granaries give like 10% each, right? How's your math working out there? Because if you're 10, 10, 10, this is 30 in imp. So you're mirrored. Are you talking about because you're using Imperial Officials? Yeah, if you're using Imperial Officials, sure. Rice lets work just... Okay, yeah, I can see that. That's a fair point, right? Because the wheat makes its way all the way around, the rice regenerates a little bit quicker. You are right. When you add in the gold, it's a little bit different. I think that, you know, Juji... One interesting thing to consider there, though, is like... Juji can get gold out of their granaries easier than China because of the speed. The single wheat reform that gives the 50% movement speed makes it very easy to drop off tax. So I'd say, like, even if you get to that late game and you're, like, massing food and gold, Juji are going to feel better than English because their gold gen is actually going to compare. Yeah, they really don't look like rice farms, right? I've got by the way, just to really emphasize this, I'm on max graphics. Where's my rice? It's coming up. We are setting up for late game. All right, so I thought maybe they'd try and play with a little bit more urgency, but it's going to be a long day. Also, where's the water for rice? Pretty sure, like you know, every other game that I've had that has rice in it, that stuff starts below the water. We irrigate the crap out of that. I've played a lot of strategy games, okay? I'm telling you, they all agree that water goes over the rice. While we're at it, what is wrong with these psychos that just pick up wheat and eat it. Where's the bakery? I mean, I know the world likes to think British people are weird, but I'd like to reassure you guys that we do turn this stuff into bread in real life. We don't just eat it raw. Actually, that's not true. We have Weetabix, which... Okay, yeah, I've just confirmed the weirdness. I'm just going to stop talking now. Anyone else have, like, do any other countries have, like, Weetabix? Where it's just, like it's wheat crumped up in it, like, a shape. Then you, like, pour milk or water over it? Or is that actually a British thing? Because I feel like when I go abroad, it's very rarely offered anywhere. It's what Weetabix is one of the brands that we have. It's like wheat biscuits, right? So it's just like the wheat has been crumpled into like a shape, like an ovally shape or whatever, or a rectangle shape. Wheat Bix, yeah, Wheat Bix, Weetabix, or Weetabix, or whatever, right? It has a bunch of different names depending on the brand. I feel like most of Europe doesn't do it. Oh yeah, dude. I have my Weetabix with sugar all the time and milk. Keep drop coming in. We have Grennies being queued up as well. Decent number of horsemen here, though. However, that is a lot of crossbows in a choke point. Aura is up, though. Louis, he has got that attack speed buffer. Castle's going to complete, though, so Louis needs to back away from this. It's an unwinnable fight. Yeah, he's going to realize as well. Like any other Civ, it's going to be a difficult struggle to get that up quick enough, but usually Chinese really are more capable than any other Civ, these defensive buildings. In the weirdest of places. And remember, Anatan can afford those losses because he went 3 TC. Louis only went 2. So yeah, it kind of hurts your scaling, but you do secure an 8k gold vein. You also block the short route to your base. It strips Louis of some of those options. Knight's still just creeping in again, man. Like, this guy's been so on point. They're just shuffling 1 or 2 in. You heard British people are myth? That's true. It's all English. British was us just being nice to the others. Yes. Comparing, why did you compare Chinese to Japanese though, JT? What took you there? I mean, Japan's just a very sad Civ overall. They have like one viable strategy. You know, my dream is that we get to a meta where every Civ has like 5 viable strategies. Right, that's the dream. You want to have options. It's never fun when there's just one option that dominates the meta, or like in Japan's case, one option that's only viable, right? It's not even that it dominates the meta. It's like if you don't do this option, you feel like you're playing a subpar Japanese. English for a while were like that with the 2 TC build, but then people realized, oh, you can play actually King with 1 TC Horseman. You can still play the, just 1 TC Council Hall into Fast Castle. It's like English has like 3 or 4 viable builds right now. Juji has, I'd say, about 3 viable builds, it feels like, right? There's the Jugenu All-In. There's the Fast Castle into Mount Lu, Fast Castle into Shaolin Monks. Louis. Now, fast on his way to Imperial Age. We've got the Berkshire on the way. First Trevor's out. Anno is mirroring, though. He understands where this game is going. I love the fact that this set started an hour... Was it like an hour and 20 minutes late? Or an hour and 10 minutes late. And they're like, first game, let's go Imperial, lads. Oh god, Temple of Sun is going to be on the way though. Correct choice being made by Anno. I'm really not a fan of the Juji library first builds. It just doesn't make sense unless you immediately queue up a tech. And I'm going to be real with you folks, practically every single Juji player I've watched do that build doesn't queue up a tech for the first 2 minutes. By the time they do start using the library, they have enough resources to go imp again. The reason why that happens, by the way, is when you tech up like this, your elite techs cost a hell of a lot. They cost a huge chunk of gold, 700 each. So it just doesn't make sense that while going for all these 700 gold techs, you'd be able to afford Juji library tech as well. Meanwhile, by going for Temple of Sun, we've immediately got value. The infantry be zooming. Oh wait, is the AMD... Oh, let me check that. I'll check that command. The AMD command should work. I'll fix that afterwards. Dude, I love this AMD setup so much. Oh, Papa got Christmas too this year. Spin just going to be able to scout out. You don't really want to hang around for 1 or 2 worker kills. You want to find out what your opponent's transition is next. because 1 or 2 worker kills is going to make a grand difference at this scale. Still just infantry from Anno. Asgard Spearman. Bombard's now arriving though. Louis does have that attack speed aura because that outpost never got taken out by Anatan. He doesn't even know about it. Keeps can't see into Stealth Forest, right? It's a little bit tricky. He has got his counter bombard coming through though. Nestabee's also shuffling in, but the Berkshire is going to make that a bit difficult. This game has taken a very slow turn, right? There's been some slight attempts at harassment, but it feels like they're both just bulking up for that inevitable death push. At which point it comes down to whose economy is better. And right now it's undeniable. Anatan with a lead in a lot of areas. Louis does have the lead in terms of matchup though. The Horsemen not feeling that contested. Only a handful of spearmen left alive. The Nestabees trying to strike into that crossbow formation, but the Horsemen are reaching them. Only 2 knobs left alive, but so many units dying, trying to body on top of them to protect. Louis MT has got rid of the castle. He has got rid of the heart of this formation. Now look for a temp reset into a second wave of Horsemen. Anatan, just kind of a tricky situation there, right? Like, has to body with the crossbows to protect, but the Horsemen, yeah, they may not be able to kill the Nestabees because of that. But they get the same bonus damage against crossbows. They only kill them quicker. So you kind of get, you know, get to give the poison over one way or the other. Anno once again trying to scale into those knobs, but you can just see how much harder it is with Zhuji compared to China. Zhuji don't have that health edge. What they do have that's not being leveraged, though, is Divine Defense. I don't think Anatan has toggled it once, despite the Bombard usage, despite the Nestabees usage. Louis stockpiling so much resources, he might just go imp again, even if he could. Instead, we got arrow volley being prepped. Horsemen should start to queue up. Like, this is the point where you want to start stockpiling, you know, 20, 30, 40 horsemen in reserve. The push continues. Anno in a bit of a shaky position here. He's trying to go back for Zhug, but really? Your opponent just shoot mass horsemen and you're going to... All right. I guess it's kind of an awkward situation either way. If you do have enough spearmen / palace guard, you can make the Zhug work. Problem right now, though, is like you're sacrificing mobility. Even with the divine haste, you're not going to be able to keep pace with horsemen. The army tactics is on the way. Now, that will make a big difference. That will give you a lot of strong arming in these fights because horsemen will barely tickle you. 10k bolts. You could, down the line, go for Zhuji Library. You have to wait until your max pop. He's there now. But at the same time, like, once again, why would you go Zhuji Library when you still got Ensnare arrows to get, right? Like, this is always the predicament I see with Zhuji Library. You have to wait until you've filled your roster of techs. What are my predictions on the new civs? Let's get some Aztecs in there. Let's get some Danes in there. Polish. And then maybe, like, a variant civ of the Mongols. Get the Mughals. I mean, Mughals, if I remember correctly, they have... Is there some Delhi descent as well? But I think it makes most sense to mirror Mongols. Or like the Oirat tribe, maybe. You could do something crazy, like... Ethiopians? Because, like, Ethiopians at one side... at one stage were, they were Orthodox, right? There was a majority Orthodox in that country. Did I not say Mughals? I'm pretty sure I said Mughals. Unless I'm just saying it wrong all these years, but I'm pretty sure it's Mughals, not Muggles. We're not Harry Potter. So break into the farm, see a little bit of torch and hard to harass. Zhuji Library's coming. I mean, this is starting to look pretty good for Anatan. He does an eco lead. He's chipped away his opponents. And on top of that, he's now going to have a lot of damage coming out for the elite crossbowmen. With the Zhuji Library tech in, there you go. 10,000 bolts on the way. These crossbows are going to shred. True kings of the late game. Mongol and Mughal are very different. But I'm thinking more from, like, the angle of, like, them both being hordes, right? I think there's maybe enough overlap there. Maybe. That's why I was saying potentially like they have more overlap with Delhi because Mughals rippled into northern India, right? What's up, Pedro? Thank you very much for the Prime sub, mate. Welcome to Swarm. Mughals will match the timeline, I guess. I'm trying to think, does every Civ and AoE4 currently match the timeline correctly? I don't think they do, right? Yes, Mughals came from Persia, yes. But they rippled down into... I'm trying to remember the exact chronicles of history. I'm pretty sure they rippled down into India. Because like they were part of how India got flooded with so many like so many hierarchically dominated Islamic areas, right? For example, like if you know your Indian history, you know that like most of the Indian regions were like basically led by Islamic religions, and then the Hindu people existed like under them as like the worker class, and the majority. That's why I said Mughals might make sense for either Mongols or India, but it's like I think it could be a really cool civ to have. I think we've done enough in the Middle East. Like it's cooler to maybe get another like Indian type civ in there. Maybe there's like enough unique things for the Bengals. By the way, we are still keeping an eye on the game. It's just you may have noticed we've reached somewhat of a limbo phase right now. There's harassment happening occasionally. There's plays for gold veins, but there's no full-on commitment. This game is very heavily slowed down. Maybe we just need the Canadians. We need like a new S tier line for when a villager dies. Because you know how like right now the S tier, you know what the S tier is, right, guys? It's the Abbasids with that. Right? The Canadians could just eclipse them with every time a villager dies. You go, thank you. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Another keep drop. Kema could be interesting. Wait, it's not... Am I saying it right? I always get this one mixed up. I'm pretty sure I know I'm saying it wrong. It's not Kema, is it? It's pronounced differently. Kama? Kema? I can't remember. That's a very weird pronunciation. At least in my brain it does. Wait, what? Whoops. We seem to have a slight gap in the walls. Clash in the center as well. Louis now with the eco lead. We do finally have elite army tactics on the way for him as well. Mass men at arms, dude, Louis. He's reached the point in the game he loves the most, man. Remember, Louis is the guy who so infamously, for most of like Season 7, Season 8, would go late game English and just build 100 men at arms. Nothing else built throughout the whole game. It would just be MAA the entire game. So he's getting to kind of his cozy point here. Now, that strategy did get nerfed quite heavily with the removal of extra health. Now they only get the extra melee armor, so situationally they have the same health, but only when they're against other melee units. I know, isn't this going to be able to idle out the gold a little bit? Louis already has plenty in reserve. Incan, Aztec, or Mayans? I mean, I think Aztecs or Mayans makes the most sense from like a known perspective. If you had to name the most known civilizations there, right? It's probably, I want to say Aztecs first and then Mayans second. For most people to know those civs, right? If you want to be really cool, you could do some bonkers like Zapotec. But like most people just don't know what the Zapotecs are. Inca was the Inca may be the largest, but I just think if you were to poll 100 people, like guys, list like first the one you knew of, or you think most people know of, and third being the one you think the least people know of. Aztecs, Mayans, Incans, which order? So if you put Aztecs first, you think they're the ones that know the most. I feel like most people would say Aztec. That's coming in. I mean, it like goes back to the idea of the Mughals, right? Like Mughals is absolutely huge, but how many people have actually heard of the Mughals? I feel like more people have heard like Oirat. Like there's bigger, I think there's bigger civs than the Delhi in the Indian Empire at times, but they're the ones people most know. Clash is happening though, and right now Louis MC is holding numbers strong. However, Anatan has a lot of siege behind this. We're up to 6 bombards right now. Remember, they're decent infantry snipers, over 100 damage per strike, meaning they one-hit these longbows. Even the men-at-arms only take 2 hits to bowl down. And the Death Ball is pushing. Anatan moving up now. Outpost to crawl in as well. I think we might have our breakpoint here. Louis kind of just struggling to hold on, even with the attack speed aura, even with it being Network of Citadels, which, by the way, still says 40%. Can we look into that, please, devs? I think the only thing missing for Anatan is probably going to be production, but with the Divine Haste, he's quick enough, right? Usually, you wouldn't be able to do this, but that extra movement speed that China usually get access to in the late game means they don't suffer as much from delayed production arriving. Because of how fast it can arrive. For the time being, though, Louis MT still keeping military count lead. Berkshire is slowly being repaired up, but nowhere near quick enough, and the Bombards nowhere near contested enough here. Just 42 extra health, 252 total with 85 resistance to ranged attacks. Makes it difficult for the Lombos to take them out. Man, you're just seeing the power of that second strike, right? 22 damage to the primary, 9 damage from the secondary. Almost a 50% increase in DPS for these crossbows with 10,000 bolts, making the difference to allow him to break in here. And Louis, practically at breaking point. He's exhausted all of his food reserves. Barely anything left in queue behind this. I think we're in a bit of a death spiral. Bombard's now moving in for another landmark. He can rush for the victory at this rate. If Louis sacrifices a screen of defense here, he'll be dead. Yeah, and you know, this is the thing, right? Anatan's comp doesn't really require too much gold. It's only 25 gold to Palace Guard. Crossbows aren't being scaled too hard. He's switching to Juke now. The taxation is doing it for him, man. Like, you know, if we look at Anatan, he's got 6 Imperial officials in total. He's got the Zuma Boy strat, so they're moving at 1.69 movement speed. He's getting enough gold out of the taxation. And he still has the gold vein left with 3,000 in reserve. This is over. Opening game win for Anatan. The statement being made that Louis MT may have got the better of him last time. But today, Anatan is switched on and dialed up to 11. Man, great idea from Louis in that early game as well. That pressure play in the Feudal Age looked like it was going to pay out. But in the end, Anno weaved his way out of a bind. I think Louis MT was maybe a little bit slow in his execution of that ram timing. Just opened the doors for an Anno recovery in the mid lane. And even though Louis got the majority of relics, even though Anatan never ended up banking those in pagodas, it just didn't matter. And Ming, by the way, has just been making an extra layer of difference in these fights, remember. He's getting 20% more damage on his Yu. This switchover hasn't really hurt him. Palace Guard as well, like that 20% extra damage offsets Armor Clad. And offsets Louis' chances. GG gets called. Game 1. A reminder that Anachad is never to be slept on. Game number 2 in the first round of the midweek Muster All-Stars. We've got Louis MT versus Anatan. And Anatan already in the lead. Now with the Roos is going to be up against Louis MT on the Delhi. Delhi, a pick that usually you'd expect in Anno's hand, a pick that in anyone's hands can cause you to have a heart attack, or at least shiver up in panic. Let's see if Louis can do that to Anno here. Let's see if he can get us a third game for the first time in midweek Muster All-Stars. Dome of Faith versus Golden Gate. And we are going to be on Pigeon's View, aka High View, but better. Yeah, Roos, it's a very good map for them, but at the end of the day, it's an even better map for Delhi. Blind playing out into the mid-map into Ghazi, 2 Sacred Sites can be rushed and are easily capturable objectives, has led to Delhi being one of the most easy-peasy win-type civs on this map in particular. Roos definitely not far behind them. If I had to predict the win rates, I'd say Delhi is at like an 80% win rate on this map. Roos is probably at like a 70, 75. It's because of these trees. All of these stealth forest trees just give so much extra gold in the hunting cabins over time. Unfortunately for Anno, the spawn didn't work out that way, right? He didn't get these stealth forests that came a little bit more intrusive, like at the back here for Louis. This would have been perfect for Anno because he could have dropped a hunting cabin here, and then another one down here. This one would have generated like probably about 28 gold a minute already. Instead, he settled for 20 and 14. You want to see an AoE 4 add-on with all the Last Kingdom factions? Wait, which ones? Wait. What do you mean? Oh, do you mean that mod pack with like the Polish, the Vietnamese and whatnot? Yeah, I think there's some cool ideas in there. I don't think all of them are like standard game appropriate, but there's some really cool ideas in there. I really would like to see at least the idea of what the Polish do in that mod pack. So, for those who don't know, there's a mod pack in AoE4 that's like 4 custom civs in one. But the problem is the modding limitations mean that you have to replace an existing civ with those civs. So you basically lose a civ to gain a civ. One of the ones I really did actually like the more I thought about it, because it was subtly very smart, was the Polish tech up. Because the way the Polish tech ups worked is that you had 4 landmarks, and each age up you'd choose 1. But if you didn't choose it in that age and wait until a later age, you got a new version of it, an improved version of it, right? So like you might get, for example, if you go age 2, there would be a TC option that was like, would take 50% longer to produce villages. If you then got it in age 3, it was just a normal TC. If you got it in age 4, it was like 2 TCs, stuff like that. I think that's a really cool idea for a civ. It's kind of like another branch of like the comparison of House of Wisdom versus standard landmarks, right? Anyway, Pro Scouts players coming in from Anno, so we'll get some yoinking in going. Interesting choice actually into Delhi. Delhi should be opening with Ghazi pretty aggressively here, which can just block you out before you really even start to yoink away the deer. The tough part there, and I think this is why Anna's doing it, is on a map like this, Louis is going to be pretty blind. Not easily going to be able to see, right? So you should be able to sneak in and out, grabbing these deer as you go. And the cool thing is because you're massing scouts, your opponent isn't, you'll also see his Ghazi beforehand, so you can just rear off. All right, predictions. Let's see how you guys weighed up on this one. 53% for Louis, 47% for Anno. So pretty tight. I'd agree with that. I think it's like fair. I think both of these civs are 2 of the peaks. The other civ that does really, really well on this map is English. I think those are like the top 3. French has been creeping up in the win rates on this map, though. Pro Scouts is creeping in for Louis as well, so we'll at least be able to start yoinking away his safety and near him. Sheep shouldn't really matter too much now that both of them will have access to the deer. The berries is more important for Louis. You can already see that he's looking to shuffle out early to gather more. A bit dangerous, though. On a map like this, you know, his vision's going to be very limited, and Anno has the correct read. He's going into Knights. A little bit ballsy into Ghazi, but I actually like it for the raid potential. If you're playing on like a Dry Arabia, I wouldn't be a fan of this build from Anno, but on such a blind map where ambushes are powerful, Knights are a pretty potent unit. That's why I think French has been just rallying up in terms of pick rate and win rate on this map as well. Civs with Feudal Knights, man. On a map where you're usually going to find yourself doing things like this. Like, if you just check Louis' vision in the area, by the time a Knight starts diving in, it's probably too late. You're going to lose a villager. Maybe 2. He's at least scout the Knights early. I think maybe Louis is playing a bit ambitious on the blocker here, trying to, like, deny the scout gathering. Like that he's just peeled back here. You don't want to really sacrifice your Ghazi mass. You need numbers to win against this now, because you just saw that Anatan got plenty of food. He's going to be able to keep massing Knights. Instead, we now have the scout switch, because if this is going to turn into that type of game, all that matters is who has more food when the dust is settled. He looks to make sure that he's not going to be left behind in that regard. 2 secret sites also locked in. It's going to give a lot of juice into Louis' economy. Might just try to actually rush an age up now. It's not the worst idea from this position. A little bit risky with the food on the flanks, but what you'll probably see is Louis plays the age for like another minute or 2. Just tries to gather up as many deer safely as he can, and then he can hunker down. Wolves should eat deer and sheep? Why? We literally earlier today just watched Crackety fail to get any sheep while his opponent had like 16. And now you want wolves to take from him as well? Why do you hate these players so much? I was saying that I think there should be a civ that has a cannibal-esque nature to them. And you give them an alternate version of Pro Scouts, where what they do is they run over and lasso villagers and drag them off into the fog while they scream. Okay, I'm sorry, that was Monk-esque. But come on. Do wolves make sense in the game after bounty rework? They kind of didn't make sense before either. I remember I had to have this discussion with the devs when they tried to implement it with Jeanne so that she got XP off it, and it just didn't make sense for that, right? Like, you basically made Jeanne super RNG. I think wolves just need a new role entirely in the game. They just don't have a good role right now. I'd actually be okay with them just making wolves more lethal. Like, I'd actually be fine with that entirely. I know some people be against it, but some people also against Stealth Forest. Other people love them. Like, dude, imagine if wolves had like half the damage of a boar. Damn. And half the health. Okay, maybe that's a bit extreme. Maybe like a quarter of the health. Ghazi are intercepting here, so good read there, but Anatan has already yoinked some deer away. He's going to have to ditch these eventually, but behind this, high trade house now on the way. Thank God he didn't do this one. Get your numbers in, folks. It's coming. So interesting that someone's mentioning the idea of domesticating wolves. There was an idea with that in the Scandinavian mod, where you could summon wolves with a warrior monk, but there was no way of controlling them. So what would happen is the warrior monk would summon a wolf, and the wolf would immediately start attacking the warrior monk. I mean, he could have this high trade house, right? But I think he's a bit paranoid. He had to have known about it, surely. Yeah, he sees that area. He just wants a safe tech up. There you go. High trade house down. Get your numbers in quickly. We're going to click on it in a second. In the meantime, Sacred Sites have been decapped. So Louis MT now just having to mirror, following up behind with House of Learning. Now, this is where things get a bit tricky for Anno, because Delhi are going to be a bit more efficient on this spike. They're in position on the map to get relics. They're also going to have fast tech unlocks. Meanwhile, you're going to have to pay for everything you want. And also, going your monks isn't cheap either, right? Those warrior monks costing 240 resources each. And looks like we've got, what, 142? 71 on the first tick. Second one to come through. So a decent one. Basically, almost 2 relics extra for the roofs. Mongols should eat horses. They don't eat sheep so much. See, that's what we need, guys. What needs to happen is when a scout kills a scout, he's then able to pick up the scout's corpse and take him back. The human as well. We don't waste around here. So we have, we've just got scholars waiting in the tree lines. They don't really give any vision, though. Sup, Hacking? Thank you very much for the sub, mate. Welcome back to the Swarm. Well, harassment coming in here. Attempted harassment anyway, the Knights. I'm going to block around the center of the map, but relics are already being grabbed. Louis, free on the way home. This is not great for Anno. This idea of horse arch is in theory cool, right? But you're already slow to it. I think the choice to go horse archer plus Knights is a bit of a predicament because it slows down your bulk timing. If you have more troops, you can attack more places, right? It's part of the logic. Outpost will at least buy some time here. Louis needs to defend soon. Louis might just try and run home. He doesn't have the textiles, though, so either repair or leave. Spear's almost in range. Louis? What? Okay, so Spearmen arrive, but the Knights do clip through a few. Ends up losing what? I think a Knight, almost 2. Kills 2 villagers in return. So not a bad exchange there for Anno. A little bit questionable from Louis, but Louis at least has the right idea. Crossbows starting to mass up. Once he has the Pakes, it can be very easy to trade into these horse archers. On a modern FFA, if you kill a player, they still play, but you're allies now. See, I think I recommended that before, but I can't remember if when I feel it's Hussein I talked to about this, and he said it might be a bit difficult to code. But I like the idea of, like, I mean, you just call it kings and vassals, right? When you kill a player, they become your vassal. I think the reason why Anno went Knights instead of horse archers here is, like, A, the risk of your opponent walling. Louis is a prolific waller. He loves walling more than almost any pro player. But it's also just, you know, on a more open map without stealth forest, horse archers, Knights, yeah, horse archers just have better ambush value. When you're on a map like this, Knights kind of have a similar presence of danger. And actually are, like, better for opportunity cost, right? Like, one Knight can do more damage than one horse archer with these stealth forests. So it wasn't the worst idea for Anno, actually, now that I think about it a bit more. Militarily, they are comparative as well. Remember, Louis, 15 of his military is not military. Anatan is definitely not ahead. Anatan is 5 relics down. Like, he's behind. Right now, militarily, he's ahead. He's just not really doing anything with it. He's stationing in the mid-map, but if the goal here was to win a relic race, you failed. He actually needs to do some damage. Like, sitting and just idling like this makes no sense unless you go 2 TC. But once again, it comes back to the fact that he scaled knights instead of just horse archers, right? And while I like the idea of it, he didn't really find his timing to attack. So you kind of reach a point where you wish you'd gone horse archers so you could at least have like the main engagement. It's so difficult to find the fight you're looking for as well. Now that the crossbows are in there, it's not as simple as, oh, he hasn't got many spears left. And I know, missing the crossbows is the way. Switching over now, but that's unfortunate for him. And Louis MT already has Pakes on the way. Remember, that's the tech that gives him the extra crossbow range. Where is the bracket for All-Stars? Exclamation mark bracket should work for that one. Two sacred sites locked in again, man. Louis has just got so much passive income, it's insane. It's making the Roos look like they need a buff. Like, oh, what's that? 161 gold in a high trade house? Please. Have you tried maybe getting 250 gold for 2 sacred sites and 5 relics worth 400 gold passive income a minute? Oh. Why Delhi just feels so oppressive, man. The way they scale scholars, they're just always so good at being immediately on every single relic. In a way that no other Civ really can. I mean, theoretically you could with like HRE, it'd be very inefficient though. Thank you, thank you. I'm hoping that everyone actually had a good Christmas. Hoping this is a good way that everyone wants to round out their year. I know a lot of people probably out partying, but appreciate everyone who's been tuning in and catching these games live. We've still got so many series to go. I mean, this is still just round number 1. We've still got at least 4 more best of 3s to do on this channel today. Oh no, it's happening. The elephants are coming. I mean, Anna was right to switch away from Cav very aggressively here. Cav was just gradually going to lose you the game. Louis, he's getting ready for a keep drop though. And remember, he could rush the unlock into village fortresses, making it a second TC. Yeah, and he's building it at home as well, so we will get the Wi-Fi immediately enabled. This is pretty crafty. It's also going to allow him to play with a little bit more agency out into the map. Doesn't have to worry about defending home as much. Especially even more so now that Anatan's switching to infantry. Before, when he was just thinking mass knights, you have to panic that he's going to run past this keep. But now has a little bit more value deterring an attack. And the question in my mind now is who's going to be going age 4 first? Anna's not really in a position to rush the age, right? It's more realistic that Louis would age up before him. Time being though, big fight coming in. Villagers almost built the castle up, and it looks like Anna's going to try to dive towards it. There's only 8 villagers on it, so he might be able to do the damage. The knights are in, and Louis a bit too greedy with this. Has to pull them away. Several villagers going down. However, that break to the back line did sacrifice the archer wave coming in from Anno. Crossbows will be able to stand their ground. More villagers being pulled. I don't think Anatan done enough there, and I think he lost way too much. This guy had, what, about 50 knights at one stage? He's down to 1. And barely any crossbows left to deal with the elephants, and that is immediately it. GG gets called. The Delhi just too damn good. And once again, at the heart of its cause, Dumbo. Dumbo the elephant. Making the entire balance of this game look Dumbo. Deciding game in the first round here in midweek muster all-stars. That's right, Louis MT on his infamous Jeanne D'Arc and Anatan. Man, I feel like I never see him play anything else on Himeyama. It's Mongol time. This is going to be a fun one. And yeah, like we're just having a discussion live on stream about like AMD versus the Nvidia and whatnot. And 100%, like AMD, like it's better bang for buck, right? Like, you know, Nvidia has some nice quality of life perks, most which are more useful to creators than are to like gamers. But one thing I will say, by the way, is like someone just mentioned about like the ray tracing. I need to actually buy Cyberpunk and test it. But I've been hearing rumors that actually AMD's been doing some interesting updates to their ray tracing, and the performance of the 7900 XTX in Cyberpunk at least has been really impressive on ray tracing. And yeah, that is a very odd UV placement. Please tell me. Okay, no, he knows about it, so. I guess he was already walking south side. Maybe he glimpsed that first. Yeah, because that would have been his starting point. So his closer stone outcropping was south. It's a bit unfortunate now because it's really far away. We do have a dot play. Something that's really popular with the Mongols. I actually really like this type of opening. The reason is by going as Mongols on this map, your opponent knows he can't play Dark. Because if he plays Dark, you're just going to burn it down. So what Mongol players realized a while back is the smart play here isn't to build a racks with no target. It's better to just go for the fishing straight away and get your own greed. Intel and Nvidia just works. I mean, is that true with Intel though? Because he's like the big bot on that. Like, are you really going to try to argue that AMD isn't just beating Intel in like gaming performance now with CPU? Because it is. It 100% is. So I don't think there's really that much of a bot there. The big bar I'd have is I actually want both to do really well, because whenever you have one or the other dominate GPU/CPU markets, the only person who wins is them. The person who loses is the consumer. That's why we should be hyped about like AMD starting to compete with Nvidia. That's why we should be a little bit dubious about like, oh my god, like, you know, AMD's pulling really far ahead of Intel now, because then it's like, uh-oh. Well, I mean, AMD have been good guys about it so far, but we know how tempting the dark side is when you are in control for a long time, right? Like, you know, I always warn people about, you know, wanting one side to just demolish the other. Because monopolies are a real thing, man. Alright, so Liu MC has got Jeanne D'Arc in range form. No surprise there. I mean, you can go melee form if your opponent's going to go spears, but the moment you see that he's got Keshix, you're just sad. This is like a rough matchup if Mongols get a slight lead. I think Jeanne is that way in a lot of matchups where things get volatile. Love the ball play to begin with, though. That is actually a ridiculous amount of food. Oh my god. That is actually ludicrous. So much food on one location for him here. Great play there by Liu MT. However, Anno does have his own food buffer, right? He's got the fishing. But no, this matchup, like I said, is very volatile, because what ends up happening is Jeanne hates heavy cav. Jeanne actually, there's no other unit in the game that Jeanne hates facing off against more, because that can snipe you in either form in H2. Keshiks aren't as good as Knights, but they are good enough. It comes down to how you navigate the initial engagements, though. And by the way, I'm going to just refute that point, Smoothie King, about the crashing of the drivers. Dog, I have been running this 7900 XTX for like a week and a half. We only had one crash, and that wasn't on AMD at all. That was on OBS because we put some custom plugins in. I played through Space Marines 2, not a single crash. I played Battlefield. I played the new Delta Force. I played all these games at higher settings. No crashes. I don't know, I think people, like, they lean on legacy. Like, for example, right, we're probably going to see King of the Hill returning to competitive in 2025. And people are going to have opinions of it that are based on their experiences with it in comp in 2022. Even though the game has completely changed. Times change. Just like Jeanne, right, is a Civ. Jeanne used to be seen as OP. Now, she looks tiny. Look at her. Yeah, she does feel pretty weak now. I think she's situationally okay. She's just not really as dominant as people try to make out. Can I test Total War Max? I do need to test Total War Max It's the new one, Warhammer 3, right? I should do that. I was thinking of re-enabling my Xbox Game Pass because Microsoft sent me a code or two. And I was thinking of actually trying out Black Ops 6 because that's the funny one. Black Ops 6, apparently, AMD is slightly outperforming the 4080 Super. Yeah. That's pretty crazy, right? Love to see it, though. Love this mana as well. Just massing Keshix non-stop. It is the correct call here. Louis right now doesn't have that many knights here. And look at this backstab coming in. It's going to force him further away from safety. Love that. He cancels the charge to re-enable it to get in quicker. Nice counter charge there by Louis, but the numbers are not on his side right now. I mean, he's just lucky that the Deerstone was never packed up and moved over. That aura would have crucified him. Instead, Louis able to get the Knights in the way, the blocker to retreat. Has still got the Divine Restoration as well. Nice quick charge there, but nice pinch. Anno punishing him for his gluttony. Divine Restoration comes in, but it's just a terrible use of it, right? This is the thing. Keshix will win against Knights if they outnumber like this. And if you micro them. But this is sick. He's using the flow of quantity to just move past, right? He's not hesitating. He's not waiting around. And it's allowing the pinch. If he turns around right now, he can get 2 more knights. Huge edge that's starting to build for Anno. Another knight goes down. Man, this is falling apart quickly for Louis. Shows you the power of that fishing as well. It definitely helped a lot of Anno blowing up this count. It's definitely risky if you don't know how to execute this right, because it's 20 XP per. But Anno, on point with his timing, didn't wait too long, didn't hesitate when it was the time. He's in a pretty confident position right now. Still with plenty of resources in reserve to commit. So, Louis, we can actually, because we're live, we can switch this quickly. I don't think he's got that much XP. No, nowhere near. 171 of 500 required. He's a long way off. To put that in like perspective, that would take him, what, 17 Keshik kills to get level 3? It's a lot. It's not impossible, but the likelihood that you survive that long is small. Especially when your opponent starts to get a Keshik lead like this, because he can just peel 2 Keshiks to hunt John, and the rest can just focus on the knights. Nice charge there as well. No maneuver speed arrow. Looks like Louis will be able to get away, but he needs to respect that. If maneuver's there, he's in trouble. So just pumping out a few of those divine arrows, trying to get them low. And this is kind of tricky though. We only have chivalry coming through now. That will be an edge. Anatan needs to be respectful of that, and you can see he's doing so. Age 3 is about to be on the way. I love this switch, man. He knows his timings. The UMT got shrunk with his knight count, so you couldn't just rush chivalry. That's what that fight earlier rather was so important about. Is like it kept Louis away from his efficient timings, and gave Anno the space for this now. So there should be Kurotai coming in, and that's gonna give you the healing buff you need. What the? Are you brain damaged? Where are you going? She's like, I'll take you all on. I don't need them these pussy knights. I got a bow. That's like the sniper rifle of the feudal age. Oh my god. Alright, so fun discussion going on right now about ray tracing. I'll say this about ray tracing. Most of the people that can afford the enthusiast cards that would do ray tracing don't use it. Because most of the people that can afford those cards or are willing to invest that type of money into a gaming platform are looking to competitively game, where you don't care about ray tracing, you care about frame rate. Do you think when Crackety bought his 4090, he was thinking about how glorious the ray tracing would look in the newest Call of Duty? Or do you think he was looking to get more frames on Age of Empires? Oh, John. Kurotai's about to come in, man. Louis missed his timing. He can't commit to this now. The healing's going to be there. The veterancy of the Keshik just got queued up. Oh, I'm not saying there aren't people that like get these enthusiast cards for ray tracing. I'm saying a lot of the people who get these cards, though, that are good for ray tracing, don't use them for ray tracing. I think that we can agree on, right? A lot of the people like buying into those things are like playing Counter-Strike, or they're playing Apex Legends or Warzone. And in those games, people want higher frame rate. Nanatan, he does have food. Remember, he went pro scouts, so he's been dragging the carcasses home. Louis in quite a tricky predicament now. Has to back away. Veterancy is there for the Keshiks, but the Kurotai can't easily be there. It's going to be a slow-moving endeavor. That's coming in, though. Armor arrow is going to get activated. The Kurotai is unpacking. Louis trying not to hang around too long here. Louis is starting to stop on it. This can backfire on Anno quickly. His Keshik count is a little bit underwhelming at this stage. If he finds the right timing, though, he could dive Louis as he's teching up. And that would be disastrous. The reason why Louis got a knight advantage right now is because Anno committed 1,800 resources into attack. Love this wrap. Louis is just on point though, man. He always understands when he needs these outposts on these like flank resources, right? So gets out of the way quickly. Anno can, of course, benefit from this now, pulling for the pro scouts. Keshiks are going to march deeper, and it's going to get mirrored on the other side. The knights are shuffling in. A second line is being built by Anno, but much smaller currently. It's all about who can outmaneuver the other. Keshik's not in a good position to take this fight right now. A bit of a disaster. The villagers are next on the chopping block. Anno needs to return fire fast. He's shuffling through, but he's wasting time in the main. And he's 15 villagers idled out, right? So it's not the worst of ideas here. If you're not killing, kills off 1 or 2 Keshiks to go hunting. Villagers are also going to have to shuffle out of the base, and Louis is hunting for that as well. Anatan in a bad position here. The Yam can allow you to run, but only run so far. Great strike by Louis. Finds the villagers, and Anatan in a bit of a weird position here. He's still trying to burn through the primary. I mean, maybe he does, but at what cost, right? He's slowly losing the Keshiks to the arrow fire. At the same time, you haven't blocked the real win condition. Louis still with 17 knights in the field. Food being gathered, gold as well. Louis now on his way home. The veterancy is coming in. I don't know if this was worth. It's really weird, right? Because it's burn on the TC. You're probably not going to kill it, but you are healing over time. You last longer. You're also idling 15 villagers. If you can finish this off, it will be worth. I am just having my doubts right now. For good reason. The knights are now on the way home. TC now on fire. Anatan needs to get ready to move. The villagers could pull out and just repair, and I think Anno is going to be left in despair here. No way. He can't get it. The knights arrive just in time. A hold on the choke point. XP farm for Jean. And town center survives. Does cost him, what, 4 villagers, but totally worth it there to mop up. Anatan now down to just 12 of these Keshiks. And the Kurultai, this is always the problem with Keshik Kurultai comms. Congrats, you've arrived. Only the fight happened 2 weeks ago. Oh, man. And it's like, this is what happens when you get in cav-on-cav engagements, right? It's like, your opponent can keep pulling away. You have to chase through. Then the Kurultai needs to pack up, move again. If you're up against a switched-on player, they'll rarely ever let you use the Kurultai to win a fight. What was the HP on the TC like? I think down to 500-ish is where he got it. It wasn't, in the grand scheme of things, close enough. So Anno now has to reset at home. But awkward, because now the Kurultai isn't actually here, unpacked to defend. So these knights could actually win this fight. Let's go charge in. Royal Bloodlines is on the way. A little bit of a misengagement there from Louis. Disengaged a bit too late, right? Ended up losing 2 or 3 of the knights unnecessarily. And Royal Bloodlines is now coming in 20 seconds. Jean has got Divine Restoration in 45. This is starting to look like a Louis dub. Anno's in a bit of a weird position now, right? Like, the fishing is soon going to run out, so that's an advantage lost. In fact, I think he's got maybe like 300 left there. Yeah, 350. And I don't think he snatched away many of the deer either. Also, apparently, Anatan skipped on Step Lancers that entire time. That's crazy, actually. Step Lancers for that dive on the TC would have been the difference, right? With the extra healing and the attack speed. That would have allowed him to break the town center quick enough. Louis now diving in again, but the Kurultai is unpacking. However, the Royal Bloodlines is there. So kind of offsetting some of the effect. Cannibal Saddle's coming in now, but a little bit too late to this engagement. However, the Keshiks are struggling to hold on. We have got raids coming in elsewhere. He tries to hit some economy. Defense arrow is going to get activated at the very end by the last Keshiks, but it's the last of the battles here for Anatan. Round 1 will be a win for the Chinese project here. Louis MT takes it 2-1. Man, kind of a tight matchup. You see how close it can be both ways. I think Anatan, just a greedy choice to try and go for a 7,000 HP landmark at a critical phase in the game. Louis just having the easy target to barrel for. Understood what kind of eco lead that could lead to. Looked very close, though. It looked like he could have lost it. Like, what do you think, guys? Do you think this matchup should usually be Jean or Mongol favored? Let me know in the comments. I'll catch you all in the next chapter, because we have got plenty of chapters left in the Midweek Muster All-Stars. See you soon.